Hello and welcome to the monthly Facebook Live here on Will's fifth quarter special. I'm your host, Will Farlow, and it is a very chilly November 9th in Bloomington, Normal, Illinois. It's a very cold Friday night, uh, and it's great to be here. Um, it's just crazy. There's so much sports stuff going on, and there's only so much time to talk about, so we got to get this thing going here. So there's a lot going on with the Illinois State. I'm just gonna fix my hair. With the Illinois State team, volleyball just had a big thing happen, and we want to congratulate Courtney Pence, the Redbird senior, on a big record. She is now the all-time MVC record holder in digs, and she got 41 of those remaining 45 she had. She got the Final Four tonight against the Ramblers, and this is an Illinois State Redbird team that this is probably the best I've ever seen this volleyball team play. And we're going to get into that. We have the MLB offseason. There's a lot going on with Bryce Harper. The White Sox, they're in a lot of players like Nelson Cruz, Machado, Harper, and more. So we're gonna talk about that, and we have some guests on already. Laura Turnopoulos from TV10 is here with us already. Anthony Ferretti, Andrew Weigars from Lansing, Illinois. Good to see you, buddy. And a special hello goes out to my father, who is my inspiration in this career path. And what I'm trying to go into. Dad, I love you, and just thanks for what you've done for me to this point, and moving forward. You've helped me a lot, and I look forward to being home in 2 weeks for Thanksgiving. But this is a very special Facebook Live. It's the 1st of November, and there's a lot to be. It's Thanksgiving coming up, so just thinking about what I'm thankful for and stuff already, just figuring that out before Thanksgiving break hits in. I'll be home next weekend and everything like that. But it made me think about on the way home. I was at the dining hall tonight eating, and how thankful I am to have all of you lovely people tuning into my sports stuff. Whether it's family I have, friends, people I see on campus that know about it or check it out, or I tell about it. I'm thankful to God. Just being able to have this career path I'm in, these talents, and I'm sharing them with all of you with this show, starting on my own and doing it. I mean, I never thought I'd be interviewing the NFL Network analyst Marcus Grant that I did a while back for the show this past episode, and I didn't see that coming. So we're thankful here on the show and Will's fifth quarter special to have all of you be a part of the Will's fifth quarter special family and be a part of something special. This show has grown so much. In about a month, on December 21st, will mark the 1-year anniversary of Will's fifth quarter special becoming a show. Becoming something I'm able to share with all of you. There's always the average sports fan in all of us, and it's a pleasure to be able to give that to all of you. To share my passion of sports and to talking about it with all of you. So that's just a somber note I had to mention about Thanksgiving. Thank you to all of you. I know that's a little ways away, but just something I had to think about tonight. And we're going to get into volleyball. The football team is heading to Indiana State, so we're going to talk about that. A team that isn't having as much success as volleyball is, but still a pretty good team. It's going to be pretty slight for the playoffs the way it's looking, but the Bears are a big one to talk about as well. They are headed back home to Soldier Field. They are facing a division rivalry matchup for the first time since week 1. They'll be playing the Detroit Lions. So that's going to be a really interesting one to talk about, and we're going to get right into it. So we're going to start with the Illinois State volleyball team. They played Loyola Chicago tonight in the Windy City. They made a trip from Bloomington Normal up 55 or well, they could have taken 57. There's different ways they can go, of course, but they took a trip up north tonight to face Loyola Chicago, and now they are 23-5 on the year, 15 in the Missouri Valley Conference. As I mentioned, Courtney Pence, not Courtney Diggs. That goes with the record she has now. But Courtney Pence came into this matchup. She had 41 digs, which is the most I've seen in a single match for any volleyball player in collegiate volleyball. And the Redbirds won that final regular season home game, not just as a team, but for those 5 seniors: Lexi Wallen, Lexi Varga, Courtney Pence, Jordan Weathers, and Adeline. So my congratulations to them on a great final regular season home game. And the best of luck in now it is 2 more regular season home games before the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. And these will be players in a few weeks we say are alums of the volleyball team. You know, their time will sadly be done after that. And we just want to thank them on the show for, just doing what they've done for that team. They've done a lot of great things, and it's really great. And I got a shout out for my grandma. I really appreciate that, Grandma. I love you. And the team is just, it's what they're doing is special, not just for those seniors. And I was on the call for that game against UNI, which was not just incredible to call for those seniors in that team, but that was my last volleyball call, as exactly about 1 month or so from tomorrow I will be graduating college. And I can kind of see where those players, the seniors, were feeling, that something starts, these 5 young women started together as freshmen on this team, under Coach Melissa Myers. And then suddenly 4 years later, they are finishing it together. A core of newcomers, a new coach, but a new coach that I think was meant to come to this team, Coach Leah Johnson. She has that personality and that, drive that those young women have in themselves as well. And that just connected all the dots. This is a great team we saw last year as well, but this season I knew, when I predicted it on the show in one of the earlier episodes, that this was going to be a big season for this team. I knew what I was picking, because this is a team that, even from the players like Taylor Lynch and Brianna Kipp that haven't played very much, all the way up to Courtney Pence, Varga, Wallen, Jankowicz, Line, Miller, Stockman's solid freshman year, Kaylee Martin's resurgence. It's exciting to see what this team is doing. And it makes you wonder how much more they could even do next year. There's a lot of things that could still happen with this team. Yes, they're going to lose those 5 seniors, but they're going to have a future that's really bright, and that's really important. So my congratulations obviously go to the seniors of this volleyball team. Best of luck in your final 2 regular season home games coming up. They have Valparaiso tomorrow, so not too far of a trip from Loyola, but then they'll have their final regular season game as the Redbird team core that they've had since last year at Bradley. What a better place, right? I mean, the battle for I-74 is just something like that. That's a real irony, the battle for I-74 matchup. So just looking at this matchup, we're going to look at the stats courtesy of GoRedbirds.com. Stockman, the Redbird freshman, had 12 kills, 7 blocks. Line with 11 kills, 4 blocks. Varga, 7 kills, 5 blocks. And Miller, 6 kills, 2 blocks. So defense is important. But the thing I like is that there's no just key star player only on this team. There's many great players. This team plays together. Coach Johnson prides herself on the team chemistry, the way the team plays together, defense, offense, just putting out a good product the best they can and having fun with it. That team has a lot of fun with what they do. You can see that in the energy they play with. So I have no doubts that they're going to be even more successful in these next 2 regular season road games and bring that into the tournament. Now, of course, we're going to see UNI again. We're going to see Drake again. We're going to see Missouri State again. So the question will be after these two games coming up, how they bring that energy continued into the conference tournament, which isn't too far away. It's coming pretty close here. So that's kind of my thoughts right now. I'm ecstatic for what this team's doing. I mean, they're on an incredible win streak right now, 23-5 on the year, 15-1 in the conference as they took it over in that UNI upset last week at Rebel Arena. But they just got to continue that. You start great, you continue that, but you want to keep it going. You want to end it on high note. I think either way, no matter how this season ends, let's say they get out, round one in the conference or something, or I'm not even going to say that's going to happen. It's just, you never know what's going to happen in sports. That can happen, even the best teams. But this team still has a great season either way, the way they're playing right now. The way they started things. They started the right way. They didn't just, we see it in sports. They have a lot of teams that have only 3 good players and the rest, don't have the energy maybe or don't have the drive to play together, because these 3 players are like, oh, these 3 players can carry us. There is not one player that can carry this whole team because this whole team carries itself together. Hi, Mom. My dad wanted me to say hi, my mom. So, hi, Mom. But just back to my point, it's important that the volleyball team continues to do that. Just so much credit goes to Coach Johnson, who was on this show earlier this year, and what she's doing with this team is really great. I think it's incredible. And a surprise for people, there's going to be more Rebel Sports after this, that little football talk after volleyball. We're talking a little men's and women's basketball. So we have a lot coming up. But just congratulations to Courtney Pence from myself, the host of Will's Fifth Quarter Special, in the show as well. I want to congratulate you on a great achievement and accomplishment, and just wish you the best of luck moving forward in your career at Illinois State right now and after Illinois State. Wish you nothing but the best, Courtney. So congrats to you and the team as well under Coach Johnson for getting to its 23rd win of the year. As we mentioned, the team is headed to Valparaiso to take on the Crusaders in I'm going to air quote it, crusade that will hopefully end in another Rebel victory. That is a 7 p.m. first serve tomorrow. That can be watched on ESPN+. Now we're going to go to football, and this is a team that and I talked about it with some of the athletic people I've had the ability to professionally get to know at Rebel Arena or on campus or stuff. It's important to the team that they bounce back, whether it's a win or a loss, but they lost at UNI, and I talked to some of the players that you see people around campus all the time, and they still are as confident as they were in game 1 this season when the season started, and that's because this team has played a lot of close games. When you go to North Dakota State, you fall by 2 scores to a really good Bison team that's very, very well experienced. We're talking like a comparison to the Rams in the NFL right now, almost. So just, there's a lot of close games. You have a 10-point loss that, well, in my opinion, we shouldn't have had happen. I think had they played better in the first half, maybe prepared a little better, I think we would have seen a better score in that South Dakota State game. Now, of course, we don't know for sure it's going to happen, but Brady Davis is a little banged up, so that's a big one for the Birds right now. That's a big situation. I haven't heard too much yet about what's going on with Davis or if he's going to be ready for the next game, but we still have, Jake Colby, a lot of other good quarterbacks, and Davis could be ready. We don't know that. We just can't rush him because he's going to be the starting quarterback next year. Jake Colby's a senior, so it's really important that the way the Redbirds are handling things with the Brady Davis situation right now, I think it's being very well handled. And we have Abby Mullen, Mike Davis, Ryan Grimmer, Mike Rubio, and Daniel Powell joining the show too. So thanks for coming on. I know it's a little chilly, so hopefully everyone's staying nice, warm, and cozy wherever they are, staying comfortable, staying warm, and enjoying this Facebook Live. And the Redbirds play Indiana State in Terre Haute, Indiana. So they're not going to have to travel too far. They'll be going to Terre Haute, Indiana. That is a noon kickoff, and on November 17th, so it's right before Thanksgiving. So that'll be on NBC Sports Chicago as well. It's senior day for Redbird football. Like I said, Jake Colby, one of the captains, has been on the team for 4 years. Probably not the best quarterback, in my opinion, in his career, but he plays tough. He plays the best he can, and that's something we never saw from Jake Cutler. God, he never tried when he was with the Bears the way we're seeing Jake Colby try and go out there to excuse me, sorry. Try and go out there and do something best he can for his team. Now, no player's ever going to be great, but I watched the drive, the confidence, just putting yourself out there still. It goes with anything in life. You put yourself out there and you do the best you can. So that's what Colby's doing, and it's a team that definitely needs to get better next year. We hope that's going to be the case. They lost a lot of defensive players last year. Now, defense is doing okay, but I don't know if it's enough to measure up with the Bison. And we mentioned they will be playing the Northern Iowa Panthers at 1 p.m. on Saturday, or they played the Northern Iowa Panthers last week. So that'll be a noon kickoff tomorrow at Terre Haute, Indiana. So this is a team maybe in Indiana State that's not doing too well, but the Redbirds can't phase themselves out. They got to still play their good brand of Redbird football. And, well, we saw that early in the year, and that's kind of phased off, the last few weeks ever since that win back in October 13th. North Dakota State kind of put us in the wrong direction. It's like they said last year or a year or two ago about how we beat North Dakota, kind of threw us off a little bit. And I feel like this Bison game's done backwards. So we're going to wish the team nothing but the best of luck. And now we're going to go into, for the first time in a while, we are going to do men's basketball. The women's team will be playing Sunday, so we'll be talking some women's basketball in the episode coming up. But I got to be on the call for this one. It was pretty exciting. The home opener was against the Florida Gulf Coast University Eagles. Now, that's a team that's been in the NCAA tourney numerous times. Not this year, last year at this point, from what we could tell. But that's still a really high-level team with experience that the Redbirds were able to not just play on their home court, with a lot of great fans in the crowd, and yours truly doing his first play-by-play for the team, calling that, was incredible. But seeing them get that victory at home was a big deal. There's a lot of new players. Just looking at the board right now, guys like Josh Jefferson, Ray Ado's a big name. He's got some really good size, and he didn't have the best playing time he could ask for, what he was looking for in the right words there. He didn't see a lot of offensive points, but he's playing really good defensively for this team, and that's what they need right now. From him at least, Ado, because there's a lot of players. They do have Malik. They have, a lot of other players with size. Keith Fisher, who's a sophomore. Fame, Evans, and Pine. They got some size. And Gassman too, but they're going to need Ado to play well with Malik and Fang, because he's going to help with that size they can put up against other teams. Now, the guards, I think, are really great this year. Last year's were pretty good, but I love what the team's putting out there in the 1, 2, 3 spots, even with the 4 and 5. And, with Yarbrough and Fang, and that's William Tinsley. William, the senior out of Colfax, Illinois, is doing a really great job coming in this. Now, Coach talked about in the postgame, he wasn't shooting. He's not shooting as well as he'd like. Tinsley is, but he's still a great player. He didn't get a lot of the shots he was looking for to go up completely in that game against the Eagles. Now, he got some really key shots for the Birds, but it's I'm going to reiterate a bit to what I said about the volleyball team with this men's basketball team, what I saw in that game, which is if you go out and start a game with, good energy saying, hey, I want to, we want to start this really well early and continue that moving forward. There's a lot of teams out there that will have a great roster, but they don't have the right mentality going into it. And that's really important in any sport. I don't care if you're the Yankees or the Cleveland Browns. If the Yankees go out and play the Orioles, who are the rebuilding Orioles right now, and the Orioles have a better mentality, they could very well beat a Yankee team that might not have the best mentality. Now, you're probably thinking I'm crazy comparing, a rebuilding team to beating a team like the Yankees with that talent they have in New York. But my point is, a team needs to go with the right mentality. And if they do, that team will be successful and win that game. I have no doubts about that. That's kind of how I like to approach things with my broadcast career. If I work hard, I want it more than anything in the world. I work with good growth, development, enjoyment of working with others in the journey, like these players are doing with their careers right now. You'll be satisfied with whatever you get to. It's going to be great to what you get to because you earn it. And those players on the Redbird team earned that victory. Now, it was a little bit sloppy and, some plays even coach agreed, but he felt really happy with it. And I think they did a really good job. And credit also has to go to the Florida Gulf Coast side where this team lost 5 starters last year. They have a new head coach who was an assistant coach on the staff for 8 years, Michael Fly. I think he did a very good job. He might not be a product a lot of Eagles fans in Florida are happy with. A team that made the tournament in 2013 and a few other times after up to this point. But that team's going to have some really good pieces coming forward. It's going to take them time to get where the Redbirds are right now. They have that great team chemistry, at Illinois State. The coach has that good rapport. Now, the coach at Gulf Coast, from what I could tell, does have rapport with players, but they don't have much chemistry right now. With those 5 starters left, some few newcomers coming in to fill those roles as leaders. You got to make sure that you build that rapport with those players. And guys like Cheatham and, Casimir, he's still got to develop that, Coach Fly does with those players. I think Cheatham had a really good game. He might not have had the most points for his team, but he was a really good passer. I did some scouting reports. He had really good defense, and he played great defense against the Birds. Made them, take shots from the 3-point, kept Keyshawn and, some of the, like Matt Heim, from getting those shots they wanted. And that kind of led to what the Redbirds saw from guys like Josh Jefferson, Zach Copeland, in the, front court where they had Gassman going and Ray Adowu and Phil Fain and Malik and Tinsley and those guys. But there's a guy we're not mentioning, and that's, Taylor Brunninga. The way it looks, he has some type of injury. We don't know. I don't know what the injury is at this point, but we wish him a speedy recovery. He's a really big part of this team, and can't wait to see what he does this year. He had a really good rookie season last year. Came into his own with the Birds, and he's good size. He's going to add to that continued size. And just looking at the team right now, they're in a really good place. But you're going into Belmont, to play a Bruins team that you don't know what to expect, because it's a new season. But I'm interested to see, how the Birds, after a big win like that, can continue to bring a positive, hard-working mentality that Dan Mueller instills in those players. He helps them reach their best potential, and that's what's really great about these coaches at Illinois State, no matter what the athletic team is. They work hard with these players, bringing them to the best level they can, and that's what's exciting about this team. So we wish, I actually had a play in the game, and it was on NBC Sports Chicago, so I kind of got to watch it by video. My dad kind of showed me where to find it. But so I'm on the call with my partners at WZND. We're calling the game, at Redbird Arena, and it was probably one of the most memorable calls of my career, along with that big volleyball one I mentioned against UNI. That was incredible, but for one other reason. So Casimir on the Florida Gulf Coast side, has the ball on offense for them in the first half. He gets a pass to Cheatham at the top of the key, and all of a sudden there's Casimir getting a pass to the wing, but he goes a little bit past the wing with the ball, going to get it. And all of a sudden he runs into me, and the laptop I'm using right now to Facebook Live with all of you, and bends it halfway. So it's like this way. And it scared me big time, when I was calling it. But, it was exciting, to be on a call. And you always see that on TV, like maybe guys like Stacey King or Neil Funk have a ball going there like that. But to be near the camera like that, or, be up close to something exciting like that was really cool. Made me feel really professional and just that situation. So that's kind of where we are with, Illinois State men's basketball. The women's team is playing on the road at Southern Illinois University Edwardsville this Sunday. So we wish both the men's and women's basketball teams at Illinois State the best of luck moving forward. So we're going to head into a big topic a lot of people are talking about. Of course, we're going to get to the Bears, but it is the MLB offseason, and it's really heated up with the White Sox. So we're going to start with the White Sox because it's a big step for this team that started rebuilding 2 years ago, saying, the famous line 2.5 years ago from Rick Hahn, we're mired in mediocrity, and, we're going to try and fix that. And a lot of fans were, wondering how the heck that's going to work, what's going to happen, but it's paying off big time for those Sox right now. And they are courting a player, as far as we know. This is a really big step for the team that is probably a good year and a half from, making it to a playoff, at least winning something, just because we were waiting for these players to develop. And, that takes time. Players don't always go at the same pace. Every player, Robert won't go at the same pace as Eloy, or, these players are going to take different paces, different ways of development, which is, important as a staff, the way the White Sox are doing. And I think Chris Getz is a good, spot guy to be in that player development role he is with these players, because he went through the White Sox system and, came up from the major league. So he's helping these young players do so. Guys like Aaron Rowan and Omar Vizquel, who played with the Sox a little bit when his latter part of his career. But I love what this team's doing. And it's exciting to see names connected to the Sox now in rumors and free agency, like Dallas Keuchel possibly, or the way it's looking right now, they're looking at Manny Machado and Nelson Cruz. Patrick Corbin's a good name. Jay Happ from Northwestern in his home state of Illinois there. He might be coming here to the South Side back home and everything, so that'd be really cool. Pitchers in Jeurys Familia, I think, is a really good name. He's not like your Craig Kimbrell or Andrew Miller, but he's still a really good reliever. I think he'd be a really good closer to go with the White Sox, could help mentor Zach Birdie and some of those other young arms we have too, and be a good piece. And he's a guy that won't be as expensive as a Craig Kimbrell, Andrew Miller. But, of course, the White Sox, I was on a show last week and after this episode and last episode, and I was even talking about it after the episode was done and put up, that Andrew Miller had some injury issues. Kimbrell's good, but he kind of has an higher ERA in certain situations, and Familia has done a really good job. We saw what he did with the Mets. He goes into Oakland and helps them get close to the playoffs. And that Oakland Athletics team that doesn't have a lot of payroll doing that is, great for the game of baseball, because anything could happen. But I like what Familia can throw. He has a really good, view of the strike zone. Different pitches, good speed. He's still pretty young. He's probably about, I think, 26, 27, give or take, as far as I can know. But he'd be a good pitcher to bring the Sox. But the player I haven't mentioned on this list is Bryce Harper. And that's the reason I waited till the end of the list of those players the Sox are looking at right now. They also offered a contract to former Cleveland Indian Michael Brantley. So that's a big deal. The Sox are one of the three teams. As we know, it's the Braves and the Phillies in there as well. But I'm just going to take a look at Bleacher Report and make sure I put my code in right here. But there's a lot of things going on. Now, of course, it's like my dad always taught me, rumors, are rumors, especially in sports. You kind of got to wait until you see the real stuff. And I get that, but it's just some of the stuff that's going on right now with the White Sox. Rick Hahn has always been low-key, business as usual, keeping things low-key, like what we saw with the Quintana trade, in the Sale trade, until it's getting close. He doesn't want to reveal his big plans, and I really respect that, what he does. His approach to, compared to how other teams will just leak things or let their members leak things before something really happens, and it can mess things up. But Rick Hahn's really smart about it. But the White Sox right now are in a spot where, Bryce Harper went to the Blackhawks game yesterday in the United Center in Chicago. Of course, that picture of Bryce Harper wearing a Bulls hat, people are thinking, oh, he's going to the Cubs, or oh, he's going to the Sox. It'll start that conversation, on social media. Fans like to, wish that player will come there. And that's myself as well. I'm one of you. I'm an average sports fan, like I've said on the show before. Just trying to give back to other average sports fans. But they were courting Bryce Harper pretty much yesterday. That when he came into United Center, they had the banner that you see, in that newer part of the United Center. They have like a little marquee showing, Bryce Harper's name, his number, and the White Sox logo, almost like it's what it would be like if he played for the Sox and it's at Guaranteed Rate Field. So it's almost, I think they're doing a really good job with that approach, because there's so much competition right now. There's Philadelphia with all this money. They've had guys before like Roy Halladay and Cole Hamels, Cliff Lee, that 2019 years ago. But they have a team that's pretty young. They got guys coming up soon like J.P. Crawford. They got a guy in Alec Bohm they just drafted last year. I think it's going to be really great for that team. Maikel Franco, Aaron Nola, Hector Neris, Rice Hoskins is a really good bat. They got some decent guys over there, but they need more. They need some of that star power to help mold with it and then add more players to it. But the question will be, does Bryce Harper want to go to Philly? Or in my view, I'm not going to give too much of my personal view in this because there's always a different view of something. But Bryce Harper, I think, would be a really good fit for the White Sox because the White Sox have the money he's looking for. And, of course, it's Scott Boras. So, Scott Boras is going to be like, okay, I want to get this much money for my client, because I'm not a big fan. I'm going to be honest about what, Scott Boras is saying about this whole rebuild thing because he's an agent. He's not, a GM. He's not a manager of a team. He doesn't have that experience in an organization like that in baseball. He's just saying that as an agent, trying to get his player, better maybe value or money somewhere else. But that doesn't mean the White Sox can't do that. And I think what the Sox did last night was really great. They're trying to show Bryce, hey, we care about, where you're going to go. We want you to come to us, but, we want to give you the best approach we can. And the Bulls obviously tried that with Carmelo a few years ago, and that did not work a while back before the Bulls started rebuilding. But I think the White Sox have a better fit with Bryce Harper, actually, than with Manny Machado because Manny Machado is an infielder. Now, he'd be great at third base, but he's not going to want to play third base. Of course, you can move Tim to, center field or second. But I've thought about it. I've talked to some other people. I think Machado's a great player, but maybe he's not the best fit. Now that you're going for a guy like Bryce, he's been in the playoffs before. He's got that energy, and that, he has that on-base issue sometimes, but he's got a great bat. But he's a lefty, too. It's important for the White Sox to even out a lineup that has always had a lot of righties. Even when they were competitive before the rebuild, they had a lot of right-handed bats. Now, of course, you have Moncada as a switch hitter. Omar Narvaez is a good catcher right now as a lefty, but you can't have enough left-handed batters. And right-handed, you even out both sides, at the plate so you can get to the pitchers that way. And that's going to be really important for the White Sox. I think another name they should look at along with Bryce Harper, along with the reliever in Jeurys Familia, maybe another good veteran arm or young player that's available out there. Even taking a look at, J.A. Happ or, another pitcher below, Patrick Corbin that's going to get a lot of money. Or even if it's a trade, we don't know for sure, right now. It's up to Rick Hahn and his staff. But it's going to be important this offseason. You can go out and get a Noah Arenado, but that whole Rockies thing with the hitting and home runs, you don't want to be paying that guy $300 million if he's available, even if you do need third base. So I think you sign a guy like Mike Moustakas for third, and you go for Bryce Harper. That's kind of where I'm thinking right now. Now, if we get a Manny Machado instead of Bryce, and he does great, I'm happy. I'd be happy with either Machado or Harper. But I can envision a really good outfield for the Sox, giving Harper a chance here. And, Harper, Robert, and Eloy. I think that would be a really great outfield. He's still very young, Bryce Harper. Just about to start playing in his prime like Machado is. But to come to a team that has two other great outfielders to play with you for that whole time, I think would be something enticing for Bryce. Play with a guy like Jose Abreu, Tim Anderson, Moncada. He sees that talent. That's what the White Sox are hoping right now. They're hoping – that they can sell that product. That's what a team does when they talk to free agent. They're selling what their team is to a player to say, hey, this is how we want you to fit in. They want him to be one of the main faces of our franchise, a guy people can look to, not just for that star power, but leadership, and that goes along with Abreu as well. Him and Abreu would have to become both good leaders for the team, working together. And I think that's what could happen with a guy like Bryce Harper. I think he would be really good for the White Sox, brings a good left-handed bat. I think he would be a player that the Sox fans would be grateful to have on the team. But, just a lot of credit to Rick Hahn and his staff, what they're doing right now. But I'm hoping, if Bryce Harper saw something like this video, what I would tell Bryce Harper if I was able to, I'm not going to be able to, but if I was Rick Hahn or one of those guys talking to Bryce, trying to sell him on the Sox compared to some of these other teams and what they have, I would tell him, hey, this is a team that is close to doing something special for a long time. This is a team that has worked hard start to finish, not just rebuilding, so it can make money, in the business of baseball, but making a great team for a great city in Chicago. They always put us in the picture of, hey, the Cubs are the only team in Chicago, but there's two baseball teams, Bryce, and we're the White Sox. We're just as great a team as the Cubs. We have a great history in the South Side of Chicago in the game of baseball, and we want you to be a part of that. We have the money you're looking for, but we also want you to know that we're not just giving you this contract because it's what you're looking for. We want you to be part of this. We know that you want to be part of something special. You want to make the best choice for yourself moving forward, and this team is it. This town will embrace you. Sox fans are going to love you, and you'll be somebody that they'll always remember. When Bryce Harper helps the White Sox win a World Series, or he goes into the Hall of Fame maybe, fans will still back him up because we Sox fans back up our own. We've had guys like Brett Lillibridge come through the door, Gordon Beckham, Brent Morrell. So many guys have gone through this club in the last decade. We haven't won since 2008, 2009 in a while. But what I'm trying to get at is that's what you need to pitch to Bryce Harper, that this team has had a bright history, still does, and they're building for a very bright future that he's going to want to hop on. Or else if he goes to another team, we might be beating him and the Phillies in the World Series. So that's what you got to sell to Bryce Harper. Be a part of something special. Yes, it's about the money for you right now. You want to play somewhere great, maybe be a face of a franchise and get the money. That's great. But he's a person too. Aside from the money in the business, he's also a person. He wants to be a part of something great. And that's what the White Sox are going to have to sell him. Rick Hahn and, thank God Kenny Williams was in the GM. God, we'd never be in this spot if it was him. But Rick Hahn seems like that type of guy. He's very personable. He knows what he wants and looking for. And I got to give some shout-outs here. My dad's been on this whole time, so go Sox, he says, and Cubs stink. So we're getting to your favorite Cubs team there in a while, Dad. We're unbiased on this show. Mr. Becker joined, Victoria, and Mark Buccio. So glad to have all of you on. And we're obviously going to have more people checking it out after, which is cool. People have busy Friday nights and everything, so that's understandable. But that's where I would sell Bryce Harper on the White Sox. And I will keep believing that this team is going to be great. That's what Sox fans believe right now, based on what Rick Hahn has done. Not just putting this team in a great place with all these prospects, and the coaching changes and, great manager in Renteria, what the team's doing right now. But he's serious about it. He doesn't just want to do this for the money. You could tell that he is serious about making something great for these fans, this organization's future, to add to that great history. And that's going to be really important for the White Sox. So we, with Will's Fifth Quarter Special, are going to keep you updated. I'm planning on adding some Twitter polls, retweeting as much as I can, sharing posts, anything I can to all of you. And all I ask is that you just enjoy it. Enjoy the content. On this show, it'll be covered about the off season with baseball. It's going to be a wild ride. That's all I can tell you. We might even know what'll happen with Machado, Harper, and the Sox in free agency start in a few weeks. You never know what's going to happen. I remember one time waking up a few years ago and all of a sudden the White Sox made that trade for Samardzija, and signed David Robertson to that 4-year deal, who is a free agent too. We might even bring him back, which would be interesting. But it's going to be interesting. But I have faith that the White Sox will get one of those star power type guys, whether it be trade or free agency, add some good role players to it. I'm hoping in my heart they add a guy like Chris Granson, even if it's just a 1-year deal, because he deserves to play home, play in his home state in baseball, Major League Baseball, for at least a good year or two left in his career, whatever he has left playing. I think he has a good amount left, but something like that, and Andrew McCutchen, that's one of my dreams too. But that's the great thing about baseball. Teams can give out money to players as much as they want, but it's all about where a player fits right as well. And hopefully that's what Bryce Harper's thinking. He's probably got a good head on his shoulders, a good support system. even though Scott Boras is saying all that crazy stuff, you never know what the person's really thinking sometimes, the way the media can turn things. So that's kind of where I am with the White Sox, who I think are going to be really great after this offseason. And it's going to be an exciting one. So you guys are going to have my stance on that. But, feel free to leave some comments what you're thinking about maybe who the White Sox should get in free agency. I know there's some Sox fans on right now with me. So kind of give your thoughts, maybe a player suggestion on who Rick Hahn should look for, different stuff like that. And we're going to head to the Cubs a little bit because I don't think this is going to happen. It's probably not going to happen, but they are rumored to be talking trades or being available, at least, these players being available. Kris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo. God, I got to take a drink of water. It's kind of like a dream there. A Cubs team that's like, oh, we're going to keep adding stuff. They're strapped for cash. They made that mistake at Darvish last year. They made some other mistakes. Like my dad just commented there, Sammy Sosa issue with the cork bat. But they are in a situation right now where they listen to no untouchables. But, when you make a statement like that, that Bryant might be moved or Rizzo might be moved, that tells other teams, hey, this team is, in a situation right now that's not good. They didn't have the best 2018 season they could. They got beat out by the Brewers, a team that was rebuilding 2 years ago when the Cubs won it all in 2016. But now this Brewers team's for real. And the Cardinals are too. And, the Pirates aren't. They're a little bit far away, the Pirates, but they're not too far away from those teams in the NL Central. But this is a Cubs team that needs to make a decision. They have a payroll situation. They had a pitching issue. And I think in the thing with the Red Sox rebuild, a lot of people like to compare it saying, oh, we know what's going to happen with the Sox rebuild. Look at how great the Cubs one is. They got those position players. But where are those young pitchers? The White Sox rebuild, they're developing pitchers and position players right now. Guys like Zach Collins and, Yoel Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, my dad mentioned. So thank you, Dad, for that. But there's a lot of players on the Sox side, and even the pitchers. I don't have all the time in this show to mention all those player names. But this is a Cubs team that has a decision to make. They're not going to be in on the high-price free agents, so those fans that could dream of Bryant and Harper playing together in Wrigley Field, that's not going to happen in this day and age right now. The way the Cubs, the Cubs had made that decision for that not to happen. They gave all that money to Yu Darvish that barely played a game in a Cubs uniform this year. He just, had to get over his injury stuff and was dealing with that, and they paid him to do that. They paid him $15-20 million to do that and not to pitch. And Tyler Chatwood and all these other pitchers they brought in, that didn't help them. They spent almost $200 million on pitching. It's kind of like what the Giants did with their defense. Their defense is okay, but that doesn't make it a sure thing. Even spending that much money for the players, that doesn't make it a sure thing. So we're going to continue to cover the offseason of the White Sox and the Cubs, the regular season of the Bulls. We're running short on time right now, so I'm going to get to the Chicago Bears. They're playing against the Detroit Lions at home, and this is a team that played really great against the Buffalo Bills. I'm just going to say right there, that was a really great game. But what's going to happen is, they're going to be facing a division rival, so that energy is going to be there, when you face a division team. That adrenaline. But they just need to continue with the same mentality. I talked to Mark Grody, who you guys heard in that earlier episode. We talked about it in that interview, how the team prepared after that loss in week 1. And then they did that after the loss to New England and to Miami. But, yes, they do have, the Lions and the Vikings and the Lions again, your Thanksgiving. Packers not too far away and the Rams and stuff. But this is a team that can do great things. Matt Nagy's got really great energy, a really great personable approach to this team. Vic Fangio, Mike Helfrich, Harry Highstand in the O-line. They have a really great team here. This is probably the best Bears team I've seen in a good few years. Not just by the names we're seeing on the Bears jerseys and the roster, but the way this team fits together. It's like a puzzle. You can't finish a good puzzle if you don't have all the pieces together. This Bears team has those pieces together. A good, energetic, leadership-type player on defense like Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith, Bryce Callahan, Amos, Jackson, Floyd, Trevathan. I can name all those defensive players down the line. Even the player that's a bench player or the practice squad. This is a team that plays together. You can see that on the field, the way Mitch is developing well with guys like Taylor Gabriel, who I think is going to be a Bear for a long time. Trey Burton, who's going to probably be a Bear for a long time too. Him and Trubisky having that connection. Jordan Howard, Tariq Cohen. This is a really great Bears team. I mean, we even have the best backup quarterbacks if something dire did happen to Mitch. And, of course, we don't wish that to happen on our young franchise quarterback, but they have guys like Chase Daniel, Tyler Bray, who we aren't going to see much this year, in case something happens, if something happens to Mitch. But this is a great team up and down. Just credit to Brian Pace. And we don't give a lot of credit to the general managers, in interviews and stuff sometimes. A lot of coaches will. The best coaches will, I think, in my opinion, because it goes back to the GM. It's not the coach going and making those calls and help doing all the research for the draft picks. It's that whole team together, the scouts, the front office as a whole, working with the coaches to put that together. They're all a team effort, just like the players are a team. And that's what it comes down to. And it's important that that continues for the Bears. They have a really bright future with this team, I believe. And, a lot of people have said, the Bears are going to have 7 wins if they're going to have 8 wins. Those guys are eating their shorts right now, the way the Bears are playing right now. It's incredible the way this team is played. And just looking at the schedule right now, it looks to have some tough matchups, but that doesn't matter. It matters how you approach that. They have the Lions on Sunday at noon at home. Then they host the Vikings next Sunday. And then that Thursday before Thanksgiving a little bit, or on Thanksgiving, correction, playing the Lions, in Detroit, and just, some of those games coming after it, the Giants, hosting the Rams, and then the Packers playing over at the Niners, and then on the road against the Vikings. Just looking at that schedule, there are some pluses. The Niners ain't doing too well this year. The Vikings aren't what we expected this year. Well, we know the Packers, but the Bears are going to want revenge on their home turf, only losing to that one point. The Rams are going to be the interesting one for me. That's going to be a game where the Bears, let's say they get those wins, Detroit twice, maybe a close loss to the Vikings, and beating the Giants. We're going to say that's how it's going to happen. Because the Vikings are going to probably get the first one, Bears will get the one later in the year. But they need to approach these games the way they have, which is the best way. I mean, you lose only by 7 points to a more experienced Patriots team. It was going to be hard to beat the Patriots. A lot of great teams that are in a better spot than the Bears right now because the Bears are still getting to that point that those other teams were before they got to that point. And the Patriots are a great team. But the way the Bears played them made a statement to the league that this Bears team is for real this year. They're not just on a hot streak with a new coach and then all of a sudden next year it's going to fall apart. This is a great team. This is a really great team. That's where the White Sox are going to be. The Cubs are almost there still. The Bulls are going to get there pretty soon. A lot of these teams are great for one reason. They play together, great coaching. Same with the Illinois State sports, and the love of the game is important. Contracts should be aside. I don't think the money is a big importance to these players like it really is. They just want to play in the right spot. That's kind of my view on it. So I appreciate all the comments on this show tonight. Thank you to my dad, Brian Farlow, Fritzy Flores, Matthew Becker, Victoria Pasquale, Mark Buccio, Donald Stone, my old classmate at South, Ryan Grimmer, Abby Mullen, Mike Diaz, my grandma. See you soon, Grandma, when I'm home for Thanksgiving. Anthony Ferretti, who's been on the show before, a big supporter of the Fifth Quarter Sports Talk. Laura Trindopoulos, doing great work over at TV10. Andrew Regars, and I mentioned my dad. I'm going to say it enough times in my career, Dad, so I hope you're used to hearing it. You and Mom have done so much for me. The girls, Katie, Emily, and Claire, getting me to this point. Shout outs to Alex and Kevin Dolaner as well, being a part of that throughout my life. Just, Dad, I love you so much for what you did for me to get to this point. To even be – I wouldn't be doing this Facebook Live if it wasn't for what all of you have done for me. The Dolaner boys and, you, Mom, the girls, Uncle Don, anybody, what you guys have done for me to this point. So I'm forever grateful for that. And thank you to all of you for being part of this show tonight on a chilly night. Hope all of you Stay warm, don't get sick, and if you do, drink good fluids and everything. And thanks for continuing to support this fifth quarter special show in Will's fifth quarter special. It's an honor to have all of you on with me tonight, and that makes it even more fun for me to do. And we'll be doing a big episode next week. And as I mentioned, I would reveal the co-hosts. We're going to have two co-hosts because they're brothers. You know, one of them is one of my closest friends I've met on campus, who I'm going to have as a close friend for the rest of my life. I know that. You know, he's a special one. And his brother is new. So I've been, mentoring a lot of those younger team members over at WZND, being a part of that as a senior vet, which is pretty incredible. It'll be Scott and Steve Rosales. Steve Rosales has been on the show before, but he's going to be joined by his brother, Scott Rosales, who will be making his first appearance on Will's fifth quarter special. And it's going to be a great episode next week. Thanksgiving's not too far away, so I will probably do a small Facebook Live. I'm going to tell my dad this. We're going to do a short video on Thanksgiving for the podcast a little bit, maybe talk some Bears after the game for all of you on Thanksgiving. To also say Happy Thanksgiving and maybe talk about what we're thankful for in sports. That's kind of an idea I had. So, Dad, surprise. I'm thinking about that for when I'm home. But so long from Will's fifth quarter specials monthly Facebook Live on November 9th, 2018. From Bloomington, Normal, Illinois, and on the campus of Illinois State University. This is William Faro saying so long from Will's fifth quarter specials monthly Facebook Live. Thank you to everyone that is tuned into this video right now, tonight, since it started at 7:30. Those that are going to see it after, it means the world to me, the support you've given this show since it started, as it's close to its 1-year anniversary, and it's going to keep growing. So thanks very much, and enjoy the rest of your night. Have a good one, everyone.